To you.
Happy New Year.
It's hard to believe it's 2024, and welcome to this very special edition of Eyewitness News Mornings at 10.
I know, it's mind-boggling. Was it just 10 hours ago?
Yep.
More than 1 million people were crammed into Times Square to say farewell to 2023 and hello 2024. Revelers weren't just celebrating the flip of a calendar, though. They were celebrating what New Year's actually really means.
Yeah, a lot of reassessing as we go over the next few days. And to a lot of people, it's just a fresh start. Fresh start for the calendar, fresh start for your personal life, a wiping of the slate clean, endless paths towards maybe a brand new you. You hear that phrase a lot, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. So of course, it's exciting to improve on what we're up to. But day one here, we're going to share something else. What can we do now to set ourselves up for the future and now for 2024?
Yeah, we call them New Year's resolutions, right? And this is no cottage industry. It is estimated over 120 million Americans set a resolution to begin 2023. It's just something about starting a new year, right?
Yeah.
That just makes you just think like, okay, I want to be better. And so how do we get there? Well, I think we're going to try to help folks out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that setting a resolution on January 1st is fun and exciting, but following through, that is the key. What about February, March, April, and all the rest? And how do you get to that point? And a lot of it is the foundation you set right now.
Yeah, and there's actually science behind it. A new survey by Forbes Health and one poll found less than 1 in 10 Americans were able to stick to their resolution through the entire year. And it gets worse. The survey found that on average, Americans bailed on their goal before the start of spring.
So what is going on here? Are we just wasting our time by setting these resolutions? Are we missing something here? Is there a secret science reason behind the resolution's success or not? Over the next hour, we're going to dig into that very important question.
While we're at it, we're also going to zoom in on some of the most popular resolutions to see if we can help you follow through this year. We're in this together. But before we can do that, we have to make sure we know how to start. So that is where our first guest comes in.
Yeah, friend of the show from 2023, carrying that over to 2024, Dr. John Whyte, Chief Medical Officer at WebMD. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. Thanks for having me in the new year.
I know, so much optimism, I think, right now for so many people. And so I want to dig into this resolution thing because, I mean, I don't know about you, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later. It's more of a goal setting for me. I like to look at them as goals versus resolution because sometimes you hear the word resolution, it's like, ugh. You know, why do we make these New Year's resolutions? What happens when we set these goals?
Sure. If I tell you you could have a redo, who wouldn't take that, right?
Oh, the way
if
you
you were
put it.
playing a sports or doing a test, and I said you can redo it, that's what we like about the idea of a resolution in terms of the new year. We kind of start afresh. January 1, everything's kind of wiped clean. And we know that's not the reality of life, but that's how we think about it. And that's why so many people want to do it. You know, as we were talking, there's so much going on in the brain when you think about a New Year's resolution. You have your prefrontal cortex that helps with decision making and planning. You have your limbic system, which are emotions.
Yeah.
But then there's the issue of dopamine, which is that feel-good hormone. And what's really interesting about that sometimes works against you is sometimes you give up things in terms of your goals, things you enjoy. Maybe you're giving up sweets. And that's what gives you some pleasure. So in some ways, it's so hard to stay connected because you're denying things that typically you enjoyed and you want to have that dopamine release.
So would you say, because like we really want to know, because there's science and there's statistics behind people just not being able to follow through. Is it because of what you just said? Folks are just going way too hard with, like, you know, getting rid of things that maybe they really loved?
Yeah. So many people choose things that they don't really enjoy. So I can't tell you how many people at this time of year say to me, Dr. Whyte, I'm going to start swimming. And I say to them, do you have a pool? Do you live near a pool? I say it takes a lot of time. You got to change. You get wet. Do you enjoy it? And I'll tell you, about 3/4 of the time, people say, not really, but I heard it was good for you. So that's why you have to choose something you enjoy. Don't say you want to learn a language if you don't really have any intention of using it, but you heard from someone that that's a good way to keep your brain nimble as you get older. So that's kind of the first thing. You have to choose something that's relevant to you that you're going to enjoy.
What is the blueprint then? So set realistic expectations. I think that's the key, right? That's what I'm pulling from you. So say you can't be like, I'm going to ride a unicorn to work. I mean, that's just you know, I'm not to break it to you, but that's just not going to happen.
Sorry,
right?
Dr. Whyte.
I know, right? But I guess I just shared my personal resolution. Anyway.
There you go.
But no, so realistic expectations. What are some other blueprints we can follow today?
Sure. We have this acronym that we use for goal setting that has been studied for decades, and it's called SMART. And the S stands for that the goal needs to be specific. Are you going to lose 10 pounds? Are you going to lose 5 pounds? Or are you going to learn conversational French as opposed to become fluent? You know, what's measurable? You have to have a goal that's measurable. How do you know how well you're doing? You know, weight loss is measurable, so that's a good example. You really have to have something that's actionable. Can you do it? You can't go swimming if you don't have a pool or live near a pool. That's just not going to work. It has to be relevant, right? Something that you're going to enjoy, that's important to your life. And then you have to have a time course. When are you going to get this done? Is it going to be 1 month? Is it going to be 3 months? Do you have a short-term goal and a long-term goal? We see when people have set these goals or these resolutions using this SMART concept, they often are more likely to succeed.
That's great. I love it. It's basically having a real plan, because that Peloton is right there. It's literally right there. And all I have to do is walk towards it. But here's the problem.
If you don't have a plan, it's a green.
I don't have a plan.
That's the unicorn.
Even though it's right there. So you gotta create that plan. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing your New Year's resolution, Dr. Whyte?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Sure. You know, my resolution is we are going to go to France for a spring break with the kids.
Oh.
So my goal actually is to learn conversational French. Now that I'm going to read books or novels,
I like this.
I want to have some conversation. So I did set up a goal. So I bought some flashcards because my kids will enjoy flashcards, a couple books, and I'm going to get an online tutor. That I'm going to try on Sundays with our family. So I have something specific. I have it measurable. I have it, you know, actionable. It's relevant. I have a time course.
That's
on
going to be great.
So that's mine.
Well, Dr. Whyte, thank you.
Happy New Year to you, Dr. Whyte. It's been a pleasure.